Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be doing a review of the Sceptre 40-inch curved gaming monitor. I'm going to go over the pros and the cons and my real-life experience that I've had with this monitor. And if at any point during the video you want to check out this exact same gaming monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. I do got you guys, but let's jump into the review. Now this is a massive 40-inch monitor with a resolution of 1440p. Now the actual screen size is 38.5 inches, which is still absolutely massive. If you guys thought that a 32-inch monitor was big, this is even bigger, borderline a TV. Now with this being 1440p at 38.5 inches, the PPI is not insanely high. PPI is pixels per inch, so basically how clear and crisp text or whatever is on the screen is gonna be. So the PPI is about 76. Now a 1080p 32-inch would be about 69. So it is better than a 32-inch 1080p monitor. However, it's still fairly low. That being said, it's not quite as noticeable because it is a 40-inch monitor and you're gonna be sitting a little bit further back than you would with a 32-inch, a 27, and a 24-inch monitor. Now this is also slightly curved with a 3000R curve, and this is a VA panel. Now the refresh rate is good, hitting 165 Hertz, which is keeping with that industry standard, but this does have VRR with FreeSync Premium. However, there is still screen tearing going on. I was a little bit expecting there to be some things wrong with this monitor, some things that I didn't like as much just because of the price point and the competition being so much higher priced. So yes, there is a little bit of screen tearing. It's definitely noticeable, although it isn't insane like if you were using an office monitor. Moving on to brightness, this hits 350 nits typically, and I think it'll go up to 400 nits if you're in HDR, and that's peak brightness. Now this brightness is good, however, this is using a non-matte coating, so this is actually more of a glossy screen, kind of like a MacBook Pro laptop. Now with it being a glossy screen without having that coating over it, the image is gonna be a little bit more vibrant, which is very cool, especially when you take this out of the box. You start looking at the colors and they're quite nice. However, obviously reflections at 350 nits. 350 nits is bright, but you're gonna have to go into 650 nits to really take away reflections from a glossy screen. Now with it being curved, it takes away some of the reflections a little bit. However, I found that basically if there are lights on, especially behind you, if there's a window open behind you, you're gonna have to close those windows and you're gonna have to turn off those lights if you're in game. I didn't notice the reflections getting to me as much when I'm not in game, like when I'm writing emails, when most of the screen is kind of a brighter white color. But when I'm in game and I'm seeing a lot of different colors or watching Netflix or something like that, definitely I turn off all of the lights. It's not really a problem, but if you're in a bright room most of the time, this is gonna be an issue. All right, now colors, they are pretty good, hitting 99% of the sRGB color gamut, and this thing can actually output 10 bits of color using FRC or frame rate control. So that is actually really good. Although, if you want to do any color accurate work on this, you're not gonna be able to do it out of the box. You're definitely gonna need to get something like a Spider 5 to color calibrate this thing before you do some color accurate work. All right, now the contrast ratio is obviously gonna be great because this is a VA panel hitting 3000 to 1. Those blacks are nice and deep. As well, during testing for backlight bleed, there was absolutely none, so that's fantastic. The blacks are super nice and deep, especially in night scenes or darker gameplay. It's really nice, deep black. However, there is one thing that kind of intrudes on that experience, and we will get to that right now. The response time and ghosting, the response time hits 1 millisecond MPRT. I'm not sure the gray to gray response time. However, I don't think it's the best because this is the reason it intrudes on those nighttime gameplays. The ghosting, it's pretty bad on this monitor. There's a couple different settings. However, at all the settings, at the highest and fastest response time and the lowest, it's pretty bad ghosting. I've seen other VA panels with this amount of ghosting before, so it's not insane to me. However, this is probably the worst they get on VA panels. Now, this is not a big deal if you're not a fast-paced gamer. So I tested out a bunch of different games, Warzone, Far Cry 6, and Red Dead Redemption 2, and all of those are different paced games. So Warzone is the fastest paced game, very competitive. Far Cry is definitely more fast-paced, but not quite like Warzone, and Red Dead is definitely a more relaxed and chill, slower paced game. Now during the gameplay in Red Dead, I pretty much didn't really notice the ghosting at all. It never impeded on my gameplay. In Warzone, however, it absolutely did. It was noticeable when I was playing for a longer period of time, especially when you're in a dark environment like indoors or there's something white or bright and you whip across it. that white part is gonna be smeared with black, and it's pretty noticeable. In Far Cry 6, where it was kind of between the two, it was definitely noticeable in some areas, and then in other areas, not really that noticeable. However, that being said, again, if you're a fast-paced gamer, just not the monitor for you. If you're more into the landscape, the beauty, something like Red Dead Redemption, slower paced games, maybe single player style games, this is probably not gonna be an issue for you. But yeah, definitely has ghosting. All right, menu system and controls. They did a really good job with this. To actually control the menu system, there is a joystick on the bottom middle, which is the perfect thing to use and is the perfect location. There's pretty much no learning curve. The actual menu system doesn't look too pretty, but it's very functional, and again, pretty easy to learn with those joystick controls. Now, beyond that, they actually give you a remote. Now, the remote itself doesn't feel high quality. It's kind of cheapy and plasticky, but it works really well, and it's actually much faster than using the joystick to change any of your settings, your volume, your brightness, anything you want to do. It's super fast to do that through the remote. And so that is actually really good, and it gets an A+ with the controls, so great job. All right, now Vesa compatibility. This is compatible with 100mm by 100mm Vesa mounts with a bracket that is included in the box when you get this monitor. So you basically have to take the stand off, you screw in that bracket with included screws, and then you got yourself a 100mm by 100mm Vesa mount. Now this does have internal speakers. I think they're 2 watts. They are not very loud at all, but they are actually pretty clear, and they're great to use in a pinch. All right, now let's talk ports. This has 2 HDMI 2.0s. They can go up to 144 Hz at 1440p. It then has 2 DisplayPort 1.4s. They can go up to the full 165 Hz at 1440p. And then it has a 3.5mm audio out, and that's it. No USBs, kind of would have liked to see that on this monitor. However, not a big deal. All right, stand and build quality. This thing looks pretty awesome because it's in all white, and it's absolutely built like a tank. There is a ton of metal on this thing, and it is super stable. It has height adjustability, it has tilt, and it even has swivel, which is very cool. And it's actually nice to have on a monitor this size. I typically don't like swivel. However, on a monitor this big, I do like that it's there. But as you would expect, this thing is heavy, weighing just shy of 21 pounds, and that is without the stand. I think this thing weighs a little over 25 pounds with the stand. So it's a hefty monitor right there. If you do want to connect it to a monitor arm or something, you're gonna need to get quite an expensive monitor arm to hold this thing up. But there's 2 weird things that I just don't like kind of with the build quality, maybe not the build quality. There is a cable cover for the back of it that kind of connects in, and it's not very well integrated because the actual power cable comes down so far that you really have to pull it to actually get it to fit in that cable cover, and it just doesn't work well, and I ended up not using it because it was so frustrating to put on. So that was just kind of weird. However, the other thing is the power cable. It's just not long enough. It's so short, it's so much shorter than other Sceptre monitors that I've used, and pretty much shorter than any other monitor that I've used with its stock cable. Now, the good thing is this is just a normal cable that you can buy cheaply pretty much anywhere. You go to Lowe's and buy one. However, it's just weird for a monitor that costs almost $600 why they wouldn't just give you a longer power cable. Just kind of weird. And one little gimmick is it does have RGB on the back. You can cycle through some other colors and spectrum colors and rainbow, whatever you want. They do also have that. Now, overall, would I recommend this monitor? Well, it definitely has its issues for sure, and I know I've been pretty critical of this monitor, but I have really enjoyed my time using it because that screen is so big and immersive, and it's very cool, especially in a game like Red Dead Redemption, where the game is already beautiful. This monitor just accentuates that. However, if you're a fast-paced gamer, I probably wouldn't recommend it because you probably won't enjoy using it for fast-paced games. But for the screen size and the refresh rate, I think it's a great price if you do more of kind of like single player style games. For that, I absolutely recommend it, but not for fast-paced games. Again, if you want to check out this monitor, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. I do got you guys. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video and it helped you out, help me out and throw a like below. And if you enjoy monitor reviews or you want to see the unboxing of this specific monitor, it'll be somewhere right here. But this was Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.